Hello, I'm Tom Harmer, your town manager. Welcome to this edition of Talk of the Town. Really exciting news that I want to share with our viewers. We know there's a really big project for the town. It's called the Town Center and the Town Center Greene. And so today I want to provide a little bit of an update of what to expect over the next series of months, say between now and this summer. Everyone I think is familiar with the project. The property that the town purchased a number of years ago is adjacent to the Publix shopping center, back behind the Chase Bank, over by the Paradise Center, and it's almost 5 acres. And when we purchased it, our phase one work was really to clean up the site so we could at least start to use it a little bit. There were some wetlands on the site, some exotic species and other things. We brought in some fill, we did some grading, we had some permits from the Water Management District, and it brought it into its current condition. And we called the big area on the site the Town Center Greene. And so we've been working really hard to develop a phase two, which is to really enhance the site with some walkways and landscaping and lighting and some other connectivity to make it a better venue for a lot of the different events that we want to do on the property. And we'll talk about events in a little bit. So we've designed the concept plan for this phase two portion, and we went out to bid on that work. And so today I want to introduce you to Ross. He's representing the contractor that we've now engaged with that is going to help us with this project. How are you today, Ross?
I'm doing good. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
So before you start, I want to mention some people may not be familiar with John Swift, and I'm not going to do a commercial on your company, but I do want to say you have a lot of experience out here on Longboat Key. When I was with the county a number of years ago, you were the contractor that did the work at Bayfront Park.
Yes.
Which we really consider kind of the premier park on the island. You also recently completed the fire station 92 on the south end of the island.
Yep.
You did a major project, I know, with the county for the redevelopment of Siesta Key. So you've done a lot of work in the area, and we're familiar with you and your firm here on Longboat Key.
Yeah, and we're just happy to be back and working with you again.
So we went through a process of designing the phase two improvements. I kind of mentioned what it includes. I didn't mention the stage, which we added to the project. We originally didn't have funding for a stage, but then we had private donors that came up with the funding to pay for 100% of the stage. So that's now added to the phase two work and ultimately your contract for the things that you're going to do.
Right. Yeah. And so we've got the stage, and then we've got the walkway that's going to be surrounding it, access points throughout the park is what I'd call it, and then some vehicular access as well. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
No, it is, and there's some things that you're going to do that the public really won't see when you're done, right? So there's probably some things under the ground, there's some fill dirt, there's other things that are going to happen.
Yeah, we're going to raise the site up. There's going to be some stormwater drainage made for that. We've got, the sewer, water, power. There's going to be lighting all the way around it. So yeah, it's not as simple as it may sound.
It's not about just putting in some sidewalks and some lighting. There's a lot of other site work that has to happen before you actually even get to that point.
Yeah, and one of our big challenges right now is the supply chain demand right now, and dealing with that. So, scheduling our timing for our start is kind of been a strategic pause. But we would prefer to be started and turning dirt right now.
Yeah, I understand. So let's talk schedule big picture wise. Now that you have been awarded the contract, we've had a kickoff meeting. What do you see as the big picture schedule? When will you start to mobilize, and when do you think you'll be substantially complete? Okay,
so we're going to start mobilization mid-September. So mid-September we'll come in, you'll see us set up a trailer, we'll throw some fence up. We're going to get started putting in the sewer pipe because that's actually readily available, but we're waiting until then to start because we have storm structures that have to be fabricated, and that's a long lead item, and so we're timing it so that when they get done with the utilities, they can move right into the storm drainage, which we need that before we can really start bringing in mass loads of dirt because we got to control the water on the site.
Good, and I think you've mentioned the sewer or the stormwater and the fixed or fill coming in. This site was raised a little bit back when we did phase one, but now with the plan, we've worked with the Water Management District and our civil engineer to plan for future buildings on the site and this work that you're doing, so that the work that you're doing will accommodate not just what we call phase two, this site work and the stage, but it'll also accommodate the stormwater needs of those future buildings. And so it's going to keep the site drier for events and make it perform better from a stormwater or rain event.
Right. So, yeah, and all of that takes time, along with building the building as well. So.
And we know, we've heard in this economy pricing, but we've also heard that it's hard to get certain materials. So you mentioned the long lead times of certain materials.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just about everything. You know, I mean, we've got special 12-inch block for the stage, and that's not being fabricated here locally anymore. So we're probably going to have to source that out of Georgia to get it. We've got roof trusses that are way behind. Roofing products have massive delays with them. So you know, we've kind of set our schedule. We're looking at how everything targets, and that was part of our strategic delay in starting the project. Unfortunately, that's probably going to put us right in the middle of the season, which we don't want to do that either, for our own reasons, let alone the impact to the residents and the town.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. We were thinking we could start this project last year. The timing didn't work, the economy, the bidding environment, etc. So we're excited now to be going forward, but it's going to take long enough that it's really going to impact a season. So we know going in, and one of the biggest impacts we know we're going to feel is our event planning. Last year, for the first time, we set a whole season of events. We had 9 different events on the site, from the Kiwanis lawn party to our November tree lighting ceremony that we've now done for a couple years, 3 different concerts, 3 different market events, an art show, the Hermitage came out. And so we appreciate your flexibility, because you have a schedule laid out between now and next summer. We want to fit in as many of those events as we can without slowing you down. And so we know the big green area where you and I are kind of standing now isn't going to be available for events during this construction period in this season, but you're doing the best you can to make some parts of the site available so we can still have some of our events this year.
Yeah, so my intent is this area right behind me is to try to preserve a significant portion of it, whatever I can, and have that be available for your you know, smaller mid-sized events. I mean, I think you've got some larger events that we may not be able to accommodate on this site, but I mean, we're going to do everything we can to work with you. I mean, I did the same thing over at Bayfront Park. We kept the community center open and active, along with the tennis courts, during all of the construction. So it's just, you know, sharing the site. It's something, you know, our company is you know, that's what we do. That's our intent, is to make this as painless and simple as possible. But you know, we all know construction is a bit evasive.
Yes, and you may have certain things planned for certain days, and there may be a storm event, a rain event, or delay in delivery of the concrete, or something else that can mess up your schedule. And so we all kind of have to be sensitive to that.
Yeah, it's a new world we're in right now. I mean, concrete deliveries being canceled day of is not unusual anymore, and we're just trying to roll with everything.
Well, I would say a good thing from the town's standpoint is our contract with you is what we would call like a hard bid contract. So you've committed to the delivery of the work at a certain price, and we're working together to make sure that happens. So if there are significant changes in price, you're locking in those prices now so that you can meet your contract requirement, and we're not expecting any surprises overall in pricing because of that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what we're right now. The stage that we're in is getting all of the products, doing submittals on them, getting the approvals on that, and then procuring the raw materials, the items that are at risk. You know, I mean, concrete is its own animal right now. Typically, we get a cost increase, you know, at the first of the year, so we would anticipate that there will be something that affects us. But you know, I mean, this year alone, we've already had 6 cost increase, so it's a different time right now. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we're locked down on our pricing with the town, so you guys are protected.
And so you mentioned that there's an area behind you. We refer to that as the old Amore restaurant site. And we had a number of events there the last 2 years, especially this past year with some of the concerts were set up there and some of the other events. And then we have the parking lot with 80 some spots here. And so that's probably going to be our focus area during the season to try and maintain some events. And you've committed to try and work around those events as much as possible. Now, you'll set up construction fencing and other things to make it safe and to keep people out of the actual active construction area. But we're doing our best with our schedule of events that we're looking at and your schedule to kind of marry the two together.
Yeah, and so we'll have a fence to delineate separation, and with that, I mean that should keep everything clear boundaries, and you know, we definitely don't want people walking on the site. We could have an excavation underway or something, and just things can happen. So
you talked about mobilizing in the middle of September. What would the public expect if they drive by here? What will they start to see in the November, December timeframe?
So start moving November, December. We're going to start having more materials available. So you'll see us start to, we'll have a building pad. We'll start doing foundations and get the structure of the building proceeding upward. We've got all the storm. We'll probably be bringing in loads of dirt. So we'll probably be impacting the roads, with the delivery trucks, because there's quite a bit of dirt being brought in here, and then concrete trucks as well.
So you'll start to see some of that as early as November.
Yeah. So
October, November, December kind of time frame.
Yeah. Mid-November, I think things really start kicking off, and the intent here is to have a steady stream of activity going. A lot of this is predicated on our timing for our roof joists, and I don't have a date on that, and they won't give me a date until I give them approved submittals, and I can't get the approved submittals because it takes them a long time to produce them. So we're just hurry up and wait.
No, good.
So,
you mentioned the stage and the walls going up. Sequentially or timing wise, when do you see the stage construction to start versus say some of the initial site work?
Yeah, so the stage I'm seeing mid-November, starting to get the foundations in and then going vertical. So I'm thinking, by Christmas you're looking at what you see as the structure out there. But we may be waiting on some roof joists and then moving to the roof.
Okay, well that's good. I think people will be excited to see it evolve that way.
Yeah. So I mean, you'll have a sense of it, but it's going to take a lot longer than that to get it completed for you.
Yeah. No, I understand. And so again, you were looking more in the June, maybe summer time frame to try and wrap everything up if everything stays on schedule with deliveries.
We're right there, summer, June, July for completion. I mean, if I had materials readily available, I wouldn't expect to take that long, but I have to build that in because of the market that we're in right now.
Well, I appreciate your flexibility. This is going to clearly be a transitional season for us with the construction on site. We still think we'll have some events here, and the public will be able to see all this as it's evolving. So thank you, and thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, we're excited to be a part of this project and looking forward to it as well. So
and and we'll probably have additional discussions with our residents about phase 3. So we're in the process of discussing with Sarasota County advancing a community center library on the old Amore site, which is factored into the overall master plan. So today we're talking about phase 2, and soon we'll be talking about phase 3 because there's some funding starting in October that will start to advance the planning and design for that, what I would say the first facility here at the town center.
And I would definitely look forward to talking to you about that as well.
So there's going to be a lot going on over the next couple of years here. It's going to be exciting to see it come together. Thank you for your firms being interested in coming out here. Glad you have experience out here, and we're looking forward to the project kickoff.
Good, appreciate it. Thanks, Tom.
All right. Yeah. And thank you for joining us today for this edition of Talk of the Town.